Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Supatease video. And with this one, we've got a big W, a fat win for Unholy Deathknights moving into Dragonflight. And I absolutely love that they are continuing to iterate on feedback and commentary with regards to class design moving into Dragonflight. I think that this is the foundation of a successful expansion. And if they can continue to hit bullseyes like they have been with improvements like this, it could be maybe the most astounding expansion we have ever had. And if you want to stay up to date with news and changes and guides and entertaining content with World of Warcraft, then do make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm also trying to work diligently to be an expert resource for you to enhance your gameplay and trying to achieve my goal of getting 100,000 subscribers, and you would be assisting me in achieving that goal. So thank you very much for hitting the button. But let's just get started here with the changes. It is a big one. Hello, Death Knights. We've got an info drop for you. Here's what we've been working on and what you can expect to see in the next alpha build for both the class and Unholy Trees. In an effort to further increase choice, we've updated some talent positions, added 2 additional connections from Might of Thracian and Merciless Strikes toward the center section of the class tree, reduced 3 ranked talents to 2, and updated the lead-in talent to Abomination Limb with a throughput talent. The following changes are not everything you're going to see in the next build. Rather, these are highlights of bigger changes and a few more subtle position changes with existing talent nodes. And that's what I really love about this, is iterating on the feedback, taking ranks down that some talents you'd have to spend 3 points into and you're not really getting really much out of it, reducing those down in total cost, increasing connections from more intuitive options rather than kind of like, why am I getting this weird utility spell that leads into my damage, or why do I need to get this part of my damage that I'm never going to use to get this utility, and adding different connection points so that those pain points aren't going to be active in the talent trees is massive. And we can see that with reducing ranks in Icy Talons, reducing ranks in Unholy Bonds, so you're getting more power for less points. They're going to introduce new challenge. Lichborn is going to have a 2-second increase of duration, give you some damage reduction. Death Pact is now going to have a connection with Might of Thracian. Asphyxiate now has a new connection from Merciless Strikes, and this is just what I was talking about, increasing connections. New talent, Death Grip's going to slow enemies. Not a big fan of this one. This is definitely not where the power is coming with this most recent update. Improved Death Strike, max ranks reduced to 1, down from 3. It's this type of improvement that I really want to see made with some of the other existing talent trees. I think the most painful one has been the Mage class talent tree, with how many 3-point talent options that they have at the moment that are all oriented towards survivability. But I would like to see, also looking back at Druid as well, feels like Druid and Priest it's been a while. I know it's still alpha, but at the same time feels like this game is coming out really soon. So I feel like those are kind of the most outlying specs at the moment, not considering the ones that we haven't seen yet, but it is still impressive. Unholy, as we've mentioned previously, we have updates to both the baseline and talent trees for Unholy. These will be available in the next alpha update. The baseline changes focus on helping reduce the cooldown desync, as well as baking in existing talents to help flow and feel of the spec. Additionally, the Unholy Tree itself experienced substantial iteration and has been mostly redesigned and restructured with 11 new talent points. Below is a list of changes previously mentioned, as well as new talents. The below list does not document each individual restructuring of existing talents, as that's quite substantial, but we do have a screenshot of the tree below to help contextualize what can be expected. So abilities, runic cost of death coils going down by 10. Epidemic damage is getting buffed by 20%. Scourge Strike Clawing Shadows damage getting buffed by 20%. General, all 3 max rank talents have been reduced to 2 max ranks. This is a really important change. Deadly Coil, this talent has been removed. Unholy Command no longer reduces the cooldown of Dark Transformation when dealing damage with Death Coil. Now instead will just give you flat guaranteed cooldown reduction, and this has been the main prerogative for Unholy, is to just make sure that their cooldowns are actually lining up, as when you were playing your class, you would have cooldown reduction based on entirely RNG, and then they wouldn't always line up when you need them, or maybe you didn't get any cooldown reduction, and it could create a lot of unfair variance between your damage output and potential. So this is going to kind of like bring you up to speed with all of the other existing classes. Army of the Damned now reduces the cooldown of Apocalypse by 45 seconds, no longer reduced by Death Coil. So again, not having to rely on feeding into it, you're just going to get guaranteed value. Death Coil still will reduce the cooldown of Army of the Dead. No longer summons a Magus of the Dead when Apocalypse or Army of the Dead are cast. Summon Gargoyle Gargoyle, duration has been reduced to 30 seconds, down from 35. However, it's going to gain 1% damage per 1 runic power, down from 1% per 2 runic power. So it's going to ramp up faster but last for a shorter amount of time. And this is going to be a guaranteed damage ramp for the Gargoyle. And I really like that Gargoyle is coming back. I think that this pet or undead minion for Death Knight has been kind of a missing component of the class for some time. So I'm really curious to see what types of Gargoyle builds are going to come out of this as a result. Then we got improved Scourge Strike, which is going to just increase the damage of your Scourge Strike being cut from the game. New talent, Feasting Strikes, Festering Strike, Scourge Strike, and Clawing Shadows have a 15% chance to generate a rune. New talent, Runic Mastery, increases your maximum runic power by 10 to 20. And a new talent called Plague Bringer, Scourge Strike causes your disease damage to occur 150% more quickly for 5 seconds. And that could have some really big power opponents with Super Strain coming back into the game as well. New talent, Magus of the Dead, Apocalypse and Army of the Dead are also going to summon a Magus of the Dead who hurls Frostbolts and Shadowbolts at your foes. They're going to be buffing the Magus's damage, 20% for Shadowbolt, 10% for Frostbolt. And the slow duration is increased to 6 seconds and a 60% slow, up from 50%. So trying to make the undead minions of Unholy, because that's like the identity and flavor of the spec, is just resurrecting and creating an army more prevalent within your class design, which I think makes a lot of sense. New talent, Ruptured Viscera. When your ghouls expire, they explode in Viscera, dealing shadow damage to nearby enemies. This is going to just give you some extra trash damage. New talent, Commander of the Dead. This is probably the most bonkers, insane one that they put in here. Your Dark Transformation is now also going to empower your Gargoyle and your Army of the Dead for 30 seconds, so their entire duration, increasing their damage by 40%. I'm curious to know if the Abomination Honor talent that replaces Army of the Dead will benefit from this. I feel like it should, because it's the same thing. But this is insane. Like this you can do this, I think, every minute, right, with Dark Transformation. So you're going to be summoning massive armies, buffing them up, and dealing a lot of damage. New talent, Eternal Agony. Death Coil increases the duration of your Dark Transformation by 1 second. New talent, Coil of Devastation. Death Coil causes the target to take an additional 35% of the direct damage dealt over time. So if you want to focus on like a dot Death Knight, an army-based Death Knight, like disease and army-based, this makes a lot of sense for the way that the class has always been historically. New talent, Rotten Touch. Sudden Doom causes your next Death Coil to increase your Scourge Strike damage against the target by 30% for 6 seconds, giving you damage outside of your cooldown windows. We love changes like that. New talent, Plague Bearer. Inflict disease upon your enemy, spreading festering wounds equal to the amount currently active on your target to 8 nearby enemies. So being able to swap targets more readily with this. It'd be interesting to see how this plays out, to try and alleviate if your target dies with all their wounds, so you can just spread them around and get more cleave damage onto everything right away. This could be really good. New talent, Super Strain. So this is Virulent Plague, also applies Frost Fever and Blood Plague. And then we saw that other talent makes your diseases tick faster. Currently grants full effectiveness for other diseases. Tuning is always likely to change in future builds. Please note, Morbidity will now also scale damage from FF and BP. Because of this, the damage per rank has been reduced. The new and updated Unholy Tree looks like this, with a lot of intermingling connection points. So if you want to try and get different builds, a focus towards pets, a focus towards diseases, and which pets you want to empower, which dots you want to utilize. Really cool, awesome customization options available in this tree. This is the stuff that we want to see. If a talent tree comes out and it's not looking too appealing, reiterate, and just until it's been polished up and we've got something that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm very excited. I'm kind of leaning now in anticipation to see what other reworks we're going to see for other classes and what updates and the classes that we haven't yet had. And again, if you want to be up to date with all those changes, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video, and I will catch you on the next one.